wild women in the deep East Texas woods. They read some good books and party with the authors and have more fun than you think they could. Wild, wicked, and free, they're the Pulpwood Queens.
Pulpwood Queens.
Hi, I'm here with New York Times bestselling author Anna Quindlen, and I'm very thrilled to meet you and talk about your latest book, the story about a family that is something that I think our readers will be so engaged that they won't be able to put down your book. So let's talk about this a little bit. I found that book clubs are fascinated with the story behind the story of how this came about. How in the world did you get the idea for this book? What was the starting point on this story?
When I write a book, there's two things that really motivate me: theme and character. And in the case of this book, the theme was very much about how safe we can be, how much security we can count on. I think we're a country and a society today that really thinks that if we do certain things, if we take care in certain ways, if we buckle kids into the car seat, or we have the mammogram, that all will be well. And because I live in New York City and was here during the attacks of September 11th, I've thought a lot about the randomness of peril and danger, especially where kids are concerned. And that was really the initial motivation for this book. And then as I thought about character, I began to develop this woman who would be the first-person narrator, who would be a wife and a mother, and who would have to deal with some difficult upheavals in her family life. Once I had the theme, once I had Mary Beth, the protagonist, the character, what happened next sort of followed on its heels.
As a reader, I found this I could relate to this woman.
I think you have to develop that intimacy, particularly with a protagonist who's writing in the first person in a novel. If you don't really feel like you know her and understand her life and understand what motivates her, you can't really speak in her voice or walk in her shoes. And you know, this is a book that's written in the present tense, which is something I've never done before. But I really felt that you had to be experiencing the events of every last one as Mary Beth was experiencing them. And to do that, I had to feel this real powerful sense of closeness with her. I also have to say that real powerful sense of closeness made writing this book easier than it might have been, because some really bad and difficult things happened during the course of this book. And I think if I hadn't felt so connected to her, I'm not sure I could have imagined them, described them, or gotten through them.
Anna, I'm curious to know, are you in a book club?
I'm not in a book club. I feel a little guilty about that. The closest thing I come to a book club is talking about books after they've read them with my 3 kids.
Well, we are here today with Tish Patrick. She's in a book club in Connecticut.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, Anna. This is the Write Yourself Free book club in Westport, Connecticut, and we are very honored to meet both you ladies.
Oh, well, I've been to Westport many times to give speeches, so I'm happy to see you guys.
Anna, I know that you used to write nonfiction, and now you write fiction. What is the difference between the two types of writing for you?
I honestly don't think there's that much difference in my process between writing journalism and writing fiction. In part because I became a newspaper reporter at a time when fictional conceits were beginning to creep into feature writing, and I was a feature writer originally. So that even in my newspaper stories, I was using things like alliteration, metaphor, simile, thinking all the time about the meter and the rhythm of the prose. And grounding it always in small telling details that I think make the reader feel as though they're there when you write a story. I mean, the biggest difference between journalism and a novel is those small telling details for newspaper stories came out of my notebook after I'd observed them on the street. And In a novel, the notebook is my imagination. But that process of wanting to have the reader be there, have them living the life, seeing the sights, for me, that was the same in journalism and in novel writing.
We loved the story. We felt it was very real. The characters were real, and you believed it was a real family.
I have to say, by the time I finally finish a novel, if I came down from the porch and ran into, Alex Latham on the driveway with a soccer ball, I would not be in the least surprised. It does make you feel a little strange and skitsy that there are these imaginary people who have completely taken up residence in your brain. And one of the nice things about publication and about readers is that if you've done it right, you've got a whole new group of people who have these individuals in their heads, and you're not the only one who's walking around thinking that fictional characters are actually real people.
I want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity to speak with you, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Anna.
If someone was watching this show and they had not read their book, what would be one question that you would want to have asked that nobody's really asked you about the book?
I'm not sure there are any. I mean, here's the thing about writing a novel which is so interesting. You don't really know everything that's in it. I mean, you're responsible for it and you put it out there. But one of the most interesting parts of publication is that readers tell you things about it you didn't know. Readers see things that you didn't see. Readers make connections that you didn't make.
Did you come from a family with siblings like this, or are your children near the same age?
Well, I think one of the reasons why people insist that the book has to be at least partially autobiographical, other than the fact that readers seem to think that all fiction is autobiographical, which is very confusing for me, since for many years I was a reporter, and when I was writing factually, people always used to think that we were making stuff up. Now that I actually make stuff up, people think it's based on my real life. But certainly, I guess one reason readers could be forgiven is because I am the mother of 3 children, just as Mary Beth is. But instead of an elder daughter and twin sons, as she has, I have 2 boys. They're 27 and 25, and a daughter who's 21.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, Anna, is there any secret talent that you have, something that somebody might not know about you?
Well, it won't be so secret soon because I'm writing a memoir about aging. And one of the chapters is called Headstand, because after a number of years of working on it very, very hard with my trainer, I now can stand on my head. And I'm pretty proud of that. I'm 58 years old. I think by the time that book comes out, I'll be 60. And the fact that I couldn't stand on my head when I was 22, and I can now that I'm 58, is something that I take a lot of pride in.
I think that is a big message that you just told all our readership, is that just because you're over 50 doesn't mean you can't, I say an old cat can learn new tricks, right?
Actually, I think when you're over 50, you get less and less and less fearful of things because you understand that, what's the worst that can happen if you try and fail? So my experience is that most of the women I know over 50 really don't give a rip what anybody thinks anymore. And it means that they wind up taking chances they might not have taken when they were 25 and doing things they might not have tried. And I think that's one reason why I feel really good about where I am right now.
Every last one is a perfect book club discussion read, because all of us out there, whether we're mothers biologically or mothers by, relationships with others, it's something that all women can relate to. So I'm really excited that you were a part of this show, and thank you so much for joining us and Anna Quindlen. who played the male lead opposite Meryl Streep and Renee Zellweger in the movie version of Anna Quindlen's bestseller, One True Thing. Go to our website to enter our Beauty in the Book giveaway. 10 people with the correct answer will be chosen at random to get a free copy of today's featured book, Every Last One by Anna Quindlen.